Hello and welcome to AVoIPoE Roadshow again from Frankfurt 2023. We're at the Pro Light and Sound. We're at the Sample Music Festival. Ryan, I'm excited again to do this show recap, just to let people know what they missed and just go over what's coming up.
Definitely. I say there's been some really exciting things happening this week, and it would be great to actually be able to share them during this sort of special online now. So stay tuned. We've got some fantastic stuff coming up, some great demonstrations. We're going to be showcasing the Dante AV, showing the power of the Netgear AV line switches, as well as bringing you content from the Burdog PTZ cameras from a production standpoint, as well as showcasing the Sharp NEC displays as well. So I think we're in for a good hour or so.
Yeah, and if you guys want any more information about what we're doing, go to AVoIPoE.com.
When there's a groove like that, everybody feels good.
AVoIPoE, we're here with Joachim from Ordinate. Joachim, tell me, how have you found the Pro Light and Sound show this year?
Well, I've been around for quite a while now, and I have to say that compared to last year's Pro Light and Sound, the floor is full. More people are coming. I think some exhibitors are coming back, so Pro Light and Sound seems to be back alive.
And one of the things that we were able to show is Dante Ultra, and obviously there was a lot of interest. I saw a lot of interest specifically from education, from theatre. We also had a lot of people from local government that were coming here for all these different applications because of the lossless latency and and obviously the familiarity over a 1 gig network. How do you think that's going to evolve now for Ordinate, the video side of the of the banners?
Well, for all those customers you just described, usually they are already Dante users, so they're quite familiar with the audio aspect of Dante, and adding video to that and keeping the same workflow and using the same tools is a very familiar thing for them, and that is a nice indicator for some growth we are expecting in that field.
And that's exactly the feedback that we got when we were demonstrating that you could, once we put up like the normal Dante kind of user interface, immediately they recognize that.
Yeah, exactly. That's why we try to keep it as simple as possible. There are other areas like broadcast where switching capacity is needed that is not really reflected in Dante controller, but we've got an API that comes with the new version of DDM that makes it much easier for end users to program their own control interface, and that's exactly what is needed for those kind of more complicated or more sophisticated workflows.
Joachim, thank you very much for your time. I look forward to seeing you more.
Thank you so much. Bye.
So you join me here at the stand, and we've just taken delivery of some kit from Ordinate. They've sent us some of the bowling decoders, one of the bowling PTZ cameras, and one of the controllers. Now, we thought that that's a great opportunity to do a live unboxing and see how well this kit goes together. Now, I've not seen this kit before. I know that we've got a D10 decoder in here. We've got some Ethernet cables. We have a PTZ camera controller, and we have the PTZ camera itself. So what we're going to try and do is set the camera up, hopefully get a PTZ controller working, and get a decoder running on one of these screens at the back here so we can take an image. So I'm just going to dive in, really. Let's try and start with a camera. So let's see what we've got. A slightly fiddly unboxing process, but here we go. So we have one camera. Now, let's power this one up. So we've got some Ethernet cable in the back. I'm hoping, yes, we've got power. So that is powered off of the Netgear switch with PoE++, so that gives it 60 watts of power. And that has come to life. So while that sorts itself out, why don't we start with a decoder? And let's see if we can get a signal off it, and then we'll try and move it about a little bit. So So I'm just looking, we've got a PoE port on the back here. We can do a HDMI out, so the brochure was correct. Life is wonderful. So I'm going to just plug this in and see what happens. So I was just juggling which power ports we had on the switch. So this takes PoE++ as well. So basically I've got plus on one side, plus on here. So I was just juggling around my power. That's literally got an Ethernet cable, HDMI, and that is powered. So here on Dante Controller, basically I've got all my transmitters. So let's just work this out logically for a second. I've got a D220p camera. Let's take, is that the HDMI? Let's go into the HDMI of the D10, so HDMI. That says I've got a subscription. So I've got a feeling we might have a signal. I think it might be just the screen. Will, can I grab the remote, please, for the telly? Let's have a look, see what we can do. Because the TV's flashing yellow, so I'm hoping if I select HDMI source 1, are we going to be in luck? And just like that, we have got the camera in place. So in theory, I could talk down here, and here's an interesting one here. We can look at the latency. So if the camera's seeing the screen, you're basically going to see my lips moving through a microphone that's directly into our camera. So if I talk really, really phonetically, or hopefully we can see there's very minimal latency. So normally if it's the case, if you've got like a monitor speaker or something, it can be really off-putting. And I'm actually looking at myself on the screen, which is a little bit weird, but it's not off-putting, which shows the latency is scarily good. So let's have a quick play and see if we can go one step further. And it's not necessarily using Dante, this. Oh, let's move my mic wire. But we're going to use the Vista control, hopefully, out of this PTZ controller. So I'm just looking. We haven't got the luxury here of PoE. But if I move a couple of boxes out of my way, I'm going to reach around and just plug a couple of cables in and see if I can get some power to it. So I've got a series of 4 Ethernet ports on the back here. I've gone for one that says IP. I can't remember the last time I ever used one of these. Hang on. Is that working out of a box? Okay, that's impressive. So you can see, if I steer this, you should be able to see our cameraman Will here, concentrating hard. There we go. And literally, see if I can steer this up to see me. Zoom out. That's not a flattering shot. How high does it go? So you should be able to see me through the screen at the moment. And I think it's fair to say the latency is very, very good. I think this is the easiest kit we've set up so far. And I'm not to say that everything else has been difficult, but it might have been a case if we've had to open up like another application or something different here. All we've literally done is I've taken it out of a box. I've plugged some PoE in. I think the only thing I had to do was set the TV to the right source, which slowed us down a little bit. And we logged into Dante Controller and routed the feed across. And there we go. So that's how easy it is to set up the Dante AV. So this is the AV Ultra with scarily low latency. So hopefully we're going to make some more content with this kit, have a real good play with it. But that's just a very raw unboxing video.
We're joined here by Alex Sonnenfeld from Sample Music Festival. Thank you so much for inviting us down here and having us here at the Performance and Production Hub here at the ProLight and Sound Show. Tell me, how's the show this year gone for you?
Yeah, it is just amazing in terms of the audience, also the exhibitors who are involved. It's definitely progress in comparison to last year. You know, I mean, the pandemic A lot of companies struggle due to that, still struggling. So, and that's why we are super happy about the feedback. Everyone is happy. And yeah, it's just a great show for us up to now.
And tell me the concept behind the idea, because, you know, so many people don't really understand the concept. And, you know, what is the idea around?
The idea is actually that in terms of the definition of a music instrument, we represent the future, you know. Back in the days, the Music Messe, there you could see products like violine or flutes or stuff like that. What we do now is showcasing products like MIDI controller, turntables, and represent them as the future instruments in combination with visuals, in combination with stuff like you guys doing live streaming, which is super important for our scene, because now as an artist, as someone who's creative, everything should be included, you know. When you do your stuff on social media, you should record it with your video camera, you should broadcast your workshop or whatever. So all the different components are coming together here in this place, and that's what's all about.
And I also like the fact that you've also incorporated a hands-on area so that people that want to try the equipment can get hands-on.
Exactly. That's a super important fact for us. Make music accessible for everyone, because we would like to approach not just the community. Our target group is really the ones who have no experience about this type of musical performance, this type of technology, you know. And this is like, for us, we do somehow a public relation job in this regards, to bring more people to the venue and to showcase what we can do with music, with visuals, with technology in these days.
And you also incorporated a beat-making competition into you had finger tappers, scratch DJs, so many different types of performances.
Yes, definitely. I mean, in terms of making music, as you said, there are the scratchers, the finger drummers, the beat makers, all the crazy guys and girls. And what we will try to do is to present how to make music in these days. You know, it's not like music consists of classical instruments or you play an orchestra. That's probably a little bit boring for our youth. Most of the contemporary music will be produced on MIDI controllers, on digital audio workstation. DJ got such a big role in the music industry nowadays in all the clubs, and this is what we're presenting here. Yeah.
And obviously what we're covering in terms of AVoIPoE represents the coverage, you know, how we're going to be able to document that thing.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the other thing, you know. I mean, documenting, broadcasting, streaming, creating content is super important for an artist in these days, you know, because when you present yourself on social media, also on Twitch and things like that, it's all about the visibility, you know, and for this you need a certain technology, and that's why your concept fits so perfectly in this environment. Also from a B2B perspective, because we are cooperating here with around 30 different brands, you know, like Panasonic, Pioneer DJ, Ableton, Native Instruments, etc., etc. And it's not just doing your art, producing music, it's also to share it with your audience, you know, on social media. And that's why broadcasting, it's super important, live streaming and stuff like that.
Will, what are you doing?
So what I'm doing, I'm just quickly disassembling, ready to reassemble just over there in about 5 minutes.
Right, we're here. We've set up the bowling here. Bowling's running using just the Ethernet cable, going into the Netgear switch. From the Netgear switch, we're going straight into your MacBook. What else is happening there, Will? You powering up OBS?
Yeah, all I'm doing now, just in OBS, about to add in the new source, so we can, stream straight out from here.
The other aspect that as well I kind of want to touch on is because of the low latency of some of the solutions that we're demonstrating, and we were able to showcase that on the live stage where we were getting the finger drummers and the performers there on that kind of low latency and being able to then project that back onto the LED screen.
Yeah, and that's a super important fact. I mean, we have here a 22 square meter super LED wall, you know, and it's not just that you see the performer on stage, we can also broadcast it live on the LED wall, you know, and there should be no latency, that the audience can see what happened on the stage, and that's why this technology is such a super benefit for us.
I think I completely agree. And I think I look forward to collaborating a lot more with yourselves and everyone here at the Sample Music Festival. The other thing I'd like to say is that you guys you're really, really laid back. You're really knowledgeable about what you're doing and you're passionate about what you're doing. That's the most important thing. So thank you so much, Alex, for coming down. Thanks. So, Will, tell me about these NDIs. You found a little hack as well, right?
Yeah, so obviously we had the luxury of knowing what the IP addresses are already. But if you didn't know what IP address you had, if you just turn up to a job and the camera was given to you, you had no idea what the IP address is, all you simply have to do is plug it in, plug the controller in all to the network, and on the controller you can search for cameras, and then it will find them, link them up to the controller, and it will display the IP address for you. So really useful if you need to know.
Well, you can't get much simpler than that. That was really good. And the other thing I found was that the play seemed to me really, really makes things so much easier. You're just plugging straight from the, so it's like decoding from the Netgear switch straight into the NEC Sharp displays or Sharp NEC displays. It just makes it really, really simple as well. I mean, the whole, I think what we've basically demonstrated is how much easier it is, no matter what your broadcast requirement, using AVoIPoE.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the user interface for the Bird Dog for the play was so easy to figure out what I want to put on the screen, what I want to send to it. I can switch it, I can change it up. Thinking about it from like an AV or like a video context, you know, you normally have to run SDI cable for miles and miles and whatever just to get something on a screen. So if you can now utilize this, you know, just with a switch, whatever, then it's really useful.
So yeah, I think what we wanted to demonstrate today is we've created this podcast. So we've taken a few interviews and stuff. And what we wanted to demonstrate, because obviously we're in the kind of performance and production hub here at the Sample Music Festival at Messe. And we wanted to kind of make sure we were doing something that was translatable to a lot of the DJs and the people that were coming up here. So we've created this podcast area here to show how you would typically make a podcast. And what we've got here are some Tascam capsule microphones here. And this is essentially taking our analog audio in. And if we take a little walk around, I wanted to go through with you what setup we've got. So you take years to go and check this out. So that analog mic is going through into this Tascam M2D so that it goes into Dante. Is that right?
So I believe the actual setup, yeah, it's pretty much that. First of all, they come into our Tascam Mixcast, and then, as you say, onwards. So what's really nice with this Mixcast is we've got our two channels coming in here. We've got the producer mic just here, and those are all feeding in into OBS, which we've got set up on the laptop. I'm not sure you can see here as our main feed, obviously from when we're doing podcast talks. Moving forward then, so we got our two cameras set up. I don't know if you can see on the screen here, it's coming through. I'm not sure if, give it a wave. There we are. So here we got two Bird Dog cameras, both PoE, both super easy to set up. I managed to set them up, which is saying something. So we've got the P240 and the P400, both as well controlled here with our Bird Dog controller. So really simple to use, literally left, right, up, down, zoom. If I want to change cameras, all I've got to do is select two, camera, and then I can move on to the onto the 240.
And so how is that going into the Sharp NEC display? Are we going straight into HDMI?
So what we're utilising here is actually the Bird Dog Play. So this tiny little box over here. So utilising NDI over the network, we're able to produce, show this image up on the Sharp screen behind us.
Oh, nice. So again, it's very simplistic setup. How long did it take overall for you to set this up? You set this up this morning, so tell me how long it took.
So from start to finish, literally from unpacking the box to it all being working, I'd say was about 35 minutes, which isn't long at all.
So yeah, obviously the bird dogs are all running on PoE, taking the feed, all coming off of that, and then yeah, I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? It's and you're using this Stream Deck, but you're using that in a production way, right?
Yeah, exactly. So on the production end, we've got OBS, just got the Stream Deck plugged in, just to make it a bit more tactile, a bit more easier to cut between things. But yeah, a really nice kind of succinct, compact podcast studio setup that's really quick and easy to set up.
Lovely. So just shows really in terms of AVoIPoE, the design thinking and how easy you could kind of set up a solution like this. So if you're thinking about doing some sort of podcasting, whether it's in an environment like this, or this is something that we set up literally in a half an hour's time in a live environment here. We could, you could do that remotely anywhere. Or if you're going to do this at home in a more fixed kind of installation, it's so simple and easy to, set this up and you're off and ready to go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, just from myself, coming from a video production background, normally have to grapple with a lot of different types of wires, a lot of different types of connections, power, HDMI, SDI, and to be able to just plug and play, essentially, yeah, it's really impressive.
AVoIPoE, that's the way to go.
Welcome to the Sample Music Festival, AVoIPoE Roadshow. This is Frankfurt ProLight and Sound Show 2023. Hello everyone, my name's Sia. I'm a technology consultant and Broadtech is my consultancy. Today, I'm here to talk about a movement that we've coined AVoIPoE. Now, AVoIPoE, it's a tongue twister of an acronym, and it merges two types of technology. The first is AVoIP, which is audio-visual over Internet Protocol, and that's a method of transport and distribution of audio, video, and control over a network. And PoE stands for Power over Ethernet, which transfers power and data from one point to another over one cable. Now, the interesting thing of why that's important is because the International Energy Agency estimates that energy is responsible for about 80% of the world's carbon emissions. Tackling this waste and reducing the amount of energy that factories, households, buildings, and entire economies use in the first place is a big and relatively easy way to reduce our impact on the climate. AVoIPoE systems are designed to be a lot easier to design. They improve functionality and add flexibility. These systems use less energy, take less time to install and maintain, and most of all, it saves money. Obviously, everyone wants to be able to save a lot of money with their projects. So it's proven and safe technology which requires no specialist skill to install. And that's why I'm advocating. So there's no qualified electricians required, no sign-offs, and it's relatively inexpensive to deploy. So the strength of AVoIPoE design thinking comes from collaboration. As a consultant, our clients are often end users. So we work alongside system integrators, and our discussions are always centered around the complete end-to-end solution, never just one part of the solution. But as a manufacturer of, for example, audio equipment, they mainly talk about the audio aspect of a project. And let's say the display manufacturer, they discuss the aspect in terms of display. And it's rare to find complementary sets of partners. Our showcase demonstrates multi-vendor integrated systems. Ultimately, we believe that everybody benefits when different vendors' products seamlessly just work together. Because knowing solutions work out of the box breeds confidence. Now, this type of thinking provides an opportunity to move away from proprietary walled garden approach. Oftentimes, we believe that walled garden approach really can stifle innovation. So, I want to go into a bit more detail about the benefits. An AV over IPoE system enables you to save energy, reduce and manage power usage and energy consumption. These systems protect equipment from electrical overloads, underpowering, or incorrect installation. AV over IPoE's power comes from central and universally compatible source rather than a collection of adapters. And if anyone has ever set up any type of systems, they know that the first thing that's to go is the adapters. They're relatively unreliable. Now, AV over IPoE can be backed up by an uninterruptible power supply. And you can quickly disable or reset devices. So that makes the installation and distribution of network connections simple and effective. So you save time, so there's less waiting around for electricians to finish on a job or building inspector to sign off on it. And you're saving money on the materials because there's less dedicated hardware, fewer cables to run, and you're cutting energy bills and reducing the carbon footprint. There's a lot more flexibility. So the use of the space, like this kind of space that we've got today, you know, it really enables you because it's not fixed by a PowerPoint location. Wherever there's an access to a network, the system could go with it. And there's a lot more efficiency. So for example, you can integrate AV over IPoE systems in smart technology. So those technologies support devices that might monitor space usage, environmental conditions, and provide security. It's a lot more adaptable and scalable. Installations become both simpler and quicker. That's a great way of streamlining the day-to-day operations of any type of facility. So essentially, AV over IPoE is a movement which encourages collaboration between vendors so that they can certify one another's products. So whether you're a manufacturer of cables, video manufacturer, audio manufacturer, by working together with other vendors, you can provide a complete end-to-end solution as opposed to just talking about one part of the solution. And that leads on to a lot more collaboration. Ultimately, what we're doing is giving confidence to the end user, to the systems integrators, because from a systems integration footprint, a lot of their time and resources is spent on trying to test their system to see whether or not that system, everything works within. So if you're able to give that confidence in the first instance by certifying one another's products from a vendor's perspective, you're giving confidence to the end user as well as the system that's with, and you're saving time. This time, of course, means money. And the bigger issue is sustainability. Sustainability now, we have to think about the cost of ownership. Cost of ownership of any technology or any system today is a lot more important than it's ever been. So with that, I'd like to thank you, and I hope you have enjoyed the time here in the Performance and Production Center at Sample Music Festival. And thanks a lot for everyone that's watching on AV over IPoE and my LinkedIn page. Thank you.
Now, Audinate have sent us some of the Dante AV equipment. We did a bit of an unboxing video. You'll be able to see that posted online as well. So we've got the Bolin Dante AV camera. We've got a laptop here, which is bringing in Dante Studio. And we've also got some of the Sharp NEC displays. But at the moment, you'll see we've only got the video feed from the camera coming in on one screen. Now, basically, what we need to do is, this is an instrument called unicasting at the moment, and we want to introduce multicasting. So in the world of networked AV, unicasting and multicasting are very common phrases. And I won't lie, they sound a bit daunting. And I felt that way as well myself at first. But it's actually really straightforward. So basically, unicasting, the camera's going to send up one 700 meg feed to the switch for every subscription. So basically, every screen or device that asks for that camera feed is going to go, have 700 meg, have 700 meg. So all of a sudden, if you've got two feeds, that's 1400 meg worth of traffic. If you've got a 1 gig network, you can see where there's going to be an issue. So what we have here is we have on these managed Netgear AV switches, we can introduce something called multicasting. So all we can do is we can send one 700 meg feed up to the switch, and we're just going to let the switch do all of the hard work. That will then distribute the feed to anyone who asks for it. So we can hopefully have this laptop and these screens here all ask for that same feed, and the network switch will take the one 700 meg feed from the camera and then send each individual device or receiver its signal. So I'm literally going to configure that now. So I've got a Dante controller up here. Let's work out where we are. So I've got device view. You can see we've got a few different devices. So I'm just going to open up the camera. We've got a little icon here which suggests multicasting. And I'm literally going to click the HDMI channel on there, add a new flow, create, and let's bear with me on this one. I'm going to go back, and what have we got? So we've got one screen. That screen's doing something. Let's see if that wakes up in a second. But in theory, if I'm just looking here, I'm going down, the camera subscribed there, subscribed there, subscribed there. And if we walk back around, we now have the camera feed coming through on this screen as well. And also, we've got the same feed coming through. We've just got OBS open on a laptop and an NVIDIA graphics card at the moment. So all we've done literally, we've just literally took all the stress off the network and letting the switch do all the hard work for us. And that's all multicasting really is. It takes that one feed and it literally just sends it to whoever goes, ooh, I'd like a copy of that feed, please. And there we go. It's that simple.
AVoIPoE Roadshow. We're here with Dirk from Tascam. Dirk, please guide us through the Sonic V24. There's been so much interest around this mixer since IRC when I first saw it. Can you give us a comprehensive clue, around this mixer?
Okay, I'll try to make it short because that's really difficult because I have colleagues who can speak 10, 15 hours about that console, so I'll try to make it very fast today. The idea behind the Sonic View is, point one, great sound. That's what the Sonic stands for, Tascam stands for since years. We have special HDIA microphone preamps who are discrete microphone preamps, not a non-chip solution. And the I stands for
If I just interrupt you there, when we say true sound, because I've actually heard this, a lot of digital mixers, unless you're comfortable using a digital mixer, they can sound it's very difficult to master. What was surprising when I first saw and heard this at ISC was that it really does sound sonically there.
Yeah, that's what we're doing with Tascam since years in our digital console. So we had a large break between the DM series and that one, and even the DM series was noted to sound very analog for a digital mixing console, let's say it that way. And we spent a lot of time to design those microphone preamps. So we selected special components out of the industrial area, out of the measurement equipment, just to give the best sound possible. And it took hours for the input amplifiers, for the output amplifiers, and especially that stage before the conversion is still a big difference. Then we convert that signal with 32-bit and have an internal 54-bit FPGA, which gives you a very short latency from the input to the output, and as well best sound quality with the algorithms we are using. So sound quality is one of the major points of the Sonic View. The other one is the ergonomic usage. So the idea is to give the user, first of all, a way to adopt the console to your own concept. That's why we have all those user keys here. This means you can really define what functionality should be done by each of those keys. You can even change the layers. We have several fixed layers as offered, but you can have 7 completely individual programmed layers, which means you can have channel 1 over there, channel 2 here if you need it, channel 5 there. You can even have the main fader on the left side if you prefer that, or if it's in your workflow at that moment. Good case is, for example, you're mixing a band. So you have typical 3 main vocals, those you put on channel 1 to 3. Then you have a drum kit, which is controlled by a DCA group. This you put on channel 4, so you have the full control of the drum kit on one channel and still can switch to a different layer where you have the full access to the separate channels. You put your guitars and others next to that, so you can arrange that directly as you need it, as it's the best for you while doing your live performance. the analog preamps need to be controlled somehow, as no one is running from the front of house console to the stage to adjust the preamps. There is a control app you can use if you're not using the Sonic View. If you're using the Sonic View, you simply switch over to a Dante channel, which is aligned to the SP60D, and you can use the standard gain control, like as it was like as if the microphone would have been connected directly to the mixing console.
And obviously everyone can find out more information on Tascam's website. But, you know, the way I see it, it's like very well thought out, very versatile, you know, with the different options, whether it's theatre use, live use, production use. You know, you've really kind of thought out every kind of use case, making this, you know, solution, you know, something useful for everyone else. Dirk, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hope to see you soon. Thanks to Sharp NEC for sending us this lovely display here. It's the M431. Ryan, I want to ask you, we're doing a bit of a, well, we've already unboxed it, obviously. We're having a bit of a look around. I wanted to get hands-on on it. Tell me a bit more about the screen and what you've noticed.
So if we're talking hands-on first impression, the big thing you realise is just sheerly how rugged these things are. They come in a sort of metal casing, and one of my favourite features is we can lean it forward. We've got solid handles on the back, so when it comes to mounting it, you can actually have something really safe to pick the device up. So if you pick up that side, I pick up this side, they're really solid mounting points. So if you're trying to rig up a stage or show or anything like that, or put them in situ, you've got a sort of trusted point. So that's one of the sort of main things that stands out straight away. But of course, the power of these is it's got a high quality display, really bright, crisp picture, but it's the flexibility of what you can do with these. So they can have what you call an SDM module that you can install into the side. So if we just pan it round slightly, you can pop one of these panels off. And an SDM module is basically, it's a small computer, and you can use them to power these for digital signage, sending video feeds through to them, and basically you get different sort of tiers of these SDMs based on the sort of output you'd like to achieve with these. But all of a sudden that means that you can mount one of these displays and you can just send an Ethernet cable to it, and you can run your display from anywhere really. So it really makes them a versatile unit. What are your sort of impressions here?
Yeah, I like that. I also like the positioning of some of the IOs, especially on the back. It makes it really easy to be able to input and output on the back here. Generally, I was really impressed when we fired up and put it up on how sharp the display actually looked. We're going to demonstrate that for you soon once we put it back up. So I think in general we're pretty happy with this one. You happy with this?
Definitely.
Should we just drop it and see whether or not it stands a drop test?
I think we'll leave that for another day. Now, I'm joined here by Sia, and he is the director of Broadtech, and I thought it would be a great opportunity just to learn and understand who are Broadtech and what are you guys all about?
Broadtech is a consultancy firm, so what we're all about is solving problems for people. Most of our clients are small to medium-sized businesses, and they come to us to solve a lot of problems that they can't solve internally. That means that we do things like digital transformation projects. We get involved in advising on technology, but also advising on systems and processes, and helping them making the changes that they need to work better in this kind of digital age. So those problems are often fixed. A lot of the times there are a lot of consultants that talk about the theory about doing these things. What differentiates Broadtech and I suppose our value proposition is that we get hands-on. We get really involved in the projects, and we see it through until it's actually been instilled into the culture of the company. Because when you want to change a company, you can't just theorize about that or just make the suggestions about the technologies. You have to have buy-in from a lot of different people, and that requires you to really be hands-on and get involved in the projects that you're doing. And so we've had a lot of long-term clients that we've been with, and that's essentially what we do.
Fantastic. So that was great to try and get a proper insight of who Broadtech are and what you guys do. Now, everyone watching, there's going to be lots of content going up on the Broadtech LinkedIn page, so make sure you follow the page there to see all of the content from here at the show. Do you know what was the biggest headache I found? Was power.
Yeah, that's true. Power and DHL, they're the two headaches that we had. DHL didn't deliver the products on time. We had a bit of a delay in that regard. But then, obviously, the other part of it is we're in Frankfurt. Obviously, we're in Frankfurt. We're going, what we're doing, we're going to a different country. We need different adapters. There's only a certain amount of adapters that we can bring with us, and if we were using Ethernet everywhere and running everything on PoE, it would have been a lot easier.
Definitely. So we had a scenario where it was early on where we was rigging up some kit on the stage with Dante AV Ultra, and some of the kit was trying to rig up. We're trying to find EU power adapters for our UK plugs. However, half the kit, thankfully, was all PoE based. The camera was, the decoder was, and that's been the easiest sort of thing. So we've been trying to do a mix of UK and EU power, but PoE is the sort of hybrid solution between the two that's actually been a saving grace. So it makes shows like this internationally very, very straightforward. Now, I think it's worth just taking a quick look at the backbone of the infrastructure we've got here, which is supplied by Netgear. So we've got two switches. We've got a secondary switch over here, which basically provides power over Ethernet. So we've got PoE++ on this side and PoE+ over here. So respectively 60 and 30 watts worth of power. And we use that to power devices such as our Bolin PTZ camera, as well as our decoder devices, what we've got. So if we just take a quick look on the back of the camera, it's literally a single cable then for the audio and for the video and for the power distribution as well. Now, behind our secondary switch, we've got our main switch over here, which is our Netgear M4250. This is part of Netgear's AV line worth of switches, and the difference here is they have a lot of profiles to make setting this sort of infrastructure up really, really easily. Now, what we'll do is take a very quick look here. This is what you get when you log in to a switch, when you're looking at a control panel behind the scenes. So you can see we've got our various ports here, what our power consumption is. But the key one here is if I go to, apologies, let me just log back in. So we've now logged into our Netgear AV panel. And as you can see again, we've got all of our various switches, got devices plugged into it. But the key thing I wanted to quickly showcase was our network profiles. This is what makes these switches really versatile and easy to use. So if I just go to our configured profile here, and if I click on the menu and go edit, just give you a quick look behind the scenes of what we've got running here. So basically they have what we call profile templates, and these are geared up for a variety of AV scenarios. So as you can see, what we've got here, we've got ones for various different systems, but we've kept it really simple, and we've gone with video with Dante audio. And what that does is that will configure all of the settings on the switch to make it as efficient as possible and allow our multicasting traffic to facilitate around our switch. The only other things we did was we enabled the DHCP server. We set a start and an end range for our IP address pool, and that makes everything very much plug and play. So it means like the PTZ camera, the Bolin decoders. What we have there is all of a sudden we can plug a device in and it'll appear on the network, and we'll be able to see those devices appear within Dante controller, and we can start utilizing them to distribute audio and visuals across the network. It's actually really, really simple.
So Ryan, 4 days. Are you knackered?
I feel broken, but I have loved every single minute of it. It's been great to see so many different sort of creative people here bringing all this sort of new technology to create music. And then we've also been here helping introduce how AV over IP can be the backbone of all that sort of technology. How have you found it, Sia?
Yeah, I think very much the same. It's been really, really interesting because we've had a really wide variety. I think the shows that we've done previously has been, one section. Now we've kind of introduced a lot, much wider, like different people that are doing completely different things. But, it's been good to be able to advocate for AV over IPoE, to be able to introduce that. I've spoken to people from universities, people that work at government levels, just about the concept about AV over IPoE. And I think what was, what kind of was telling was, because we're here in Frankfurt, we're in Germany, it's been recently announced that they've shut down their nuclear power station. So power is at the forefront, especially when we're talking about anyone that is involved in facility management and involved at designing systems for facilities. So it's a poignant point around using that, and they really got it. They immediately kind of grasped the notion and the concept about it and thought, yeah, this is a great idea. How do I implement it? And we were able to do that through demonstrating things like Dante Ultra. We had Bird Dog here with their NDI cameras. We had Sharp NEC provided their displays. We had the SDM modules from them, from Bird Dog as well. Just a variety of different products and manufacturers are here. I think generally it was great, but I feel like I'm ready to go for another week.
So stay tuned, and we'll be back here really soon.
When there's a groove like that, everybody feels good.
Oh.